Hi, this is Jennifer
And I'm Rebecca.
from Daily Wonder, and we are here with Sue Hall today, who works with the Davis Method. And we are here to talk about the services that she offers families and to share our connection with her and Waldorf education. So, hi, Sue, welcome today.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. So, we met you because you started to support one of our Daily Wonder members, a student who was in grade 5 at the time. You started to support her with dyslexia, I believe. So I thought maybe you could just start by telling us a little bit about your experience with Daily Wonder and with Waldorf education.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, one of my students decided to homeschool, and she chose to do your program. And the mom said maybe I could have a look at the program and see how if there was anything that I could help with as she went through it. And I was thrilled because I love Waldorf education. My son went to Waldorf from grade 5 to grade 12. And I just loved the fact that they look at the child's development and teach accordingly to that development, which I think is pretty unique and rather wonderful. And so that's how we came to connect. And I thought that as we were going through that Daily Wonder curriculum, there were things that maybe I could help in a little way to get her through the whole thing.
Right. So you were able to apply all of your methodology, and like take our language arts blocks or whatever expectations we had around reading and writing and put it into your methods. And I think by the end of the year, she was able to do grade level reading and writing.
I believe so. Well, the programs that we run are basically how to learn. It's the fact that we show the children how they were born to learn, and then whatever they learn is going to be easy for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got all the curriculum and all the knowledge, and obviously you've got methods as well, but they tie in very easily. And should I talk a little bit about the gift that we have of this way of thinking?
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
So when I meet children and adults who have this particular way of thinking, they are able to think in 3 dimensions. They're able to visualize something 3-dimensionally. And not only that, but they're able to move their point of perception. So if I were to imagine an elephant in front of me, for example, the part of me that's looking at that elephant, I can move around it and I can see it from the side and the back and the other side and the top. And this is a gift that a lot of people share. I would think that possibly 1/3 of the population thinks like this. They don't all know they do, but I'm pretty sure that it's a gift that's shared by many. Now, in the 3D world, that's what leads to all the talents that you hear about. But in the 2D world of print, if you're looking at a lowercase d, for example, and then my mind's eye goes 180 to it, that d becomes a p.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever system you're using, if the children are not seeing what you're seeing, there's going to be a problem. And we all assume they see what we see because our eyes are both looking at the D, right? And so who would think they'd see anything else? It doesn't happen, right? It didn't happen for me and my son. I got so frustrated with the whole thing. But when I realized that there's this gift of altering perception, that's the first part of the challenge because it doesn't work for us in the 2D world. And then the second part of the challenge is that there are children who learn to read beautifully using phonics and phonetic instruction, and there are those who don't. And so if they're struggling with the phonics, then we have a way of helping them to read, which is more visual. And the third part is that because we're basically picture thinkers, we need a picture to think with. So if I say to you, elephant, you're going to have a picture, right? And if I say desk and table and chair, you'll have instant pictures for the meaning of those words. But little words like the and if and of, there's no picture meaning, right? They're the little sight words that we're meant to just recognize. Well, again, for the picture thinkers, that's an issue because no picture equals no thinking. So the programs that we run address all those 3 issues. And once they're addressed and that the individual is able to control their perception and focus and read their way and create images for those little words, they can do anything. And
That's amazing.
it works.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So like a big reason we were happy to connect with you is because when we're supporting families and we've got parents who are brand new to homeschooling and aren't used to, what's the normal range of learning, and, parents get worried maybe that their child looks like they're not going to be reading, or there's, they don't know what to look for, the signs. And I thought, maybe you could speak to, what are parents looking for? When should they be concerned? When should they reach out to someone like you?
Yeah. Well, I think typically people associate dyslexia with reversing B's and D's, right? And yes, that is part of it because of this way of seeing them from all angles. But it's way more than that. And there will be children who then grow out of that, because I have a funny feeling that maybe all children have this way of thinking to begin with, and that's nothing I can prove. But maybe some make a transition into that 2D world a little bit more easily. But there are children who to be bright, and yet for some reason the academic is not working for them. That's obviously a sign that people notice. You'll find children who learn better with hands-on and storytelling, which is why your curriculum is so wonderful for that. You'll see them leaving out words. You'll see them putting in words when they start to read. You'll see them having reversals when they write. You might see them later on reading quite well, but actually not understanding what they've read at all. And that was me. I used to get to the bottom of the page and think, what was that about? And then you have to keep reading. Sometimes we have difficulty with math because that's all concept. And again, we need images for the meaning of the concepts. Some of the children say, I have a short-term memory problem. And that makes me smile, because then you say to them, what film did you watch at the weekend? And they say, oh, blah, 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 blah. So it's not the memory problem, it's how the information goes in. So if the information goes in and it creates a picture, it's probably not a problem. But if the information goes in without the picture, it often goes straight out again. So that's something you can see. And sometimes the children are labeled as behavior problems. And honestly, if they're not getting what they need from school, if they're not feeling that they belong, if they feel that their peers are doing things that they're not able to do, they're going to create some sort of behavior that makes them have their street cred. Or that was my son too. So it basically, if you know them to be bright and they're having this academic struggle, it's worth asking those questions.
What age would you typically, start to think that it's worth, paying more attention to these details?
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Right. Well, that's a good question. I mean, typically the wheels are off by grade 4.
Yeah.
But if you're seeing them struggle in school, I mean, I know my son was miserable even in grade 1. Kindergarten was pretty good because typically in the public system, it's hopefully quite a lot of play. But I noticed he was getting very tired, and I know children get tired when they go to school to begin with, but this was like extra exhausted, tired. And then it really depends on how it develops. Some will be able to read, some will be able to do math. Some are not very coordinated. There's quite a few areas where you'll see maybe they can't tie their shoelaces very well, maybe they don't have spatial awareness. But the little ones, this is what I find really interesting. When they're very, very small, you'll find the ones that play and they say everything that's going through their heads. Because they don't process with sound, they have to hear themselves. And you'll see some little ones who are playing and just say what they need to say, but you'll see other little ones who say everything. You just know that that's going on in their head. Besides which, if one of the parents has dyslexia, then that's another thing you need to look for.
Interesting. And so I'm guessing that you have an assessment process? What does that look like?
We need three things. We need to know three things. We need to know that they have this way of altering their perception, which is quite easy to establish even on Zoom. And we just need to know that they can keep a 3D image and they can move their the part of them that's doing the looking, they can move that around that image. We need to know that they know what their challenges are, and we need to know that they want to do something about them. Because they,
in some way, that speaks to the age or the developmental phase that a child would be in to kind of do this work, because I imagine someone who's 4 or 5 wouldn't be able to have that consciousness to be able to do.
Yeah, I see what you mean. This is for the correction part. Once they know they've got the challenges, that's the correction part. For the younger ones, we do these methods just from the beginning anyway. We show them how to focus, we show them how to create their letters, we show them how to read and make models. So you can use it for the little ones without their buy-in, if you like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You told us about some self-management tools, like you mentioned 3 things that were really interesting to us.
The attention part.
So, because a lot of our parents, again, new to homeschooling, are figuring out, is this normal? Is my child's behavior normal? Like, are they self-regulating? Are they sitting down for the amount of time that is average for every student? So I know you mentioned a few things.
That's right. Well, if you show the children how to regulate themselves, then you don't have to try and regulate them, which is a real plus. And basically, people say, focus, pay attention, concentrate, but nobody ever tells us how, right? So we have a way of showing them how to focus, and especially when they have this way of thinking. We show them how to regulate their energy levels, which is fantastic when you have the little ADD ones and ADHD ones. And we show them how to relax, because if you're not relaxed, you can't learn. And once you are relaxed, and once you have the right amount of energy, and once you can focus, then you're ready to go. That really, really helps parents.
And how do you typically work with families? Are you one-on-one with just the child, or
in person?
Right. In person is ideal. Zoom is possible. When it's in person and we're doing the correction part, then it's just the facilitator and the child. And we involve the parent at the end of the week to show them how to continue everything. When it's the little ones from the beginning, then we ask the parent to be there, because they're the ones who are going to keep that process going.
Right.
And they need to know how their children learn.
Amazing.
We're just looking at our notes to make sure that we don't forget any topics that we want to talk to you about.
Yeah. Well, we just see what a relief it would be for parents to be aware of what you have to offer if they are feeling concerned at all, or if they just have a bunch of questions. So one of the big reasons we wanted to connect with you was so that we could offer each other's members some sort of discount or something. And we want to offer families that work with you an opportunity to purchase or to choose one unit for free that they can take and see if it's a good fit for them.
Oh, well, thank you. That's really, really beautiful. I will happily do a free assessment for any of your members. And the relief part is usually during that assessment, because you talk about the challenges, you talk about what we do, and you can feel the parents just that feeling of relief that there's actually nothing wrong with their children. Because, when I first heard that my son might have dyslexia, I thought, oh my gosh, I should never have had all those drugs when he was born. I must have dropped him on his head. You sort of feel this, you've done something wrong, because you feel that anything beginning with a dys is going to be something wrong. But, if only people realized how this fabulous way of thinking leads to so many talents, right? And it's not even about working to the talents and forgetting what you can't do. It's about learning how to do what you can't do, and then enjoying the talents. You
Yes,
know, we're
I
not
love-
patting anyone on the head saying, oh, don't worry, you can't read, but you'll be fine. I mean, that's just not okay, right?
Yeah.
You need to show everybody how to basically have a reading skill and a math skill. And they can do it because they're wonderful, wonderful little learners. And it's not even about us being right and them being wrong. It's just what works for them. And we have these two ways of thinking and learning. And one is more based in sound and one is more based in visual. And that's just how it is.
I love it. I love this style and method, and to see how it complements the other styles. It's really great.
Mhm.
So how could a parent get more information about the Davis method and about you, and where would they look?
Well, they could look at www.positivedyslexia.com.
Okay.
And maybe if you're probably clever enough to put words on the screen. And so that would be a good place to. And you can phone. You can also put my phone number up and my email address, and
Great.
I'd be happy to talk to them, definitely.
And just so everybody knows, for that one-on-one facilitator opportunity, where are you located?
Oh, at the moment, I'm on Vancouver Island. I've just moved here. It's fabulous. I love it. But I can work on North and West Van in person as well. And to be honest, I can work anywhere in person. But obviously, that just needs a little bit more logistics going on. But
Yeah.
and obviously, but the interview assessments are very easy on Zoom. So
Yeah, great.
that works well.
Wonderful.
That's so great.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really happy to have this connection with you.
It's my pleasure. And thank you so much for this opportunity, because I love what you do so much. And I think it's such a beautiful homeschooling program. And I think it ties in so well with all our philosophies.
Exactly.
I love it too.
Wonderful.
Thank you for meeting with us, Sue.
We'll see you soon. Take care.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.